And good morning and welcome to Houston Newsmakers. A little bit of a different start to this week's program. Congressman Kevin Brady, who is chair of the House Ways and Means Committee, couldn't make today's taping of the program, but we still talked about something that's very important to him. He's working on a bill in Congress that has great promise, and if passed, will have a tremendous benefit for many of those who have dedicated their lives to helping others. Here's part of our conversation. Congressman Kevin Brady represents the 8th Congressional District. He is the chair of the House Ways and Means Committee. Recently held hearings on a bill that you are really excited about. Has something to do with Social Security, and what you look at as really an travesty, maybe? I mean, yeah.
Really unfair. Yeah. Really, you and I work a lifetime in Social Security. Pay in, we get a letter that says, you know, when you retire and get Social Security, you'll get this much a month. But when teachers and police and firefighters get the same letter and they plan to retire, they often get a real poor surprise. They find out they can be docked up to $400 a month from Social Security because of a formula from the 1980s.
And so how did that formula come about? I mean, obviously there must have been something going on at that time where it seemed like it might have been a decent idea.
Well, you're so right. At the time, they were trying to reform Social Security, so they were looking at different people and those who earn pensions, those who pay into Social Security, those who have certain jobs, and they came up with a formula they thought was right at the time. Turned out to be very wrong, and over the years has sort of treated teachers, police, and firefighters with a one-size-fits-all formula that really docks them when you're a teacher and you've worked, you've paid into, for example, the Texas retirement system, but you have a summer job, or you had a first career or maybe a last career. Police and firefighters who work in a second, in some cases a third job, and they pay into Social Security. Well, this formula actually, and I don't think it was intended to necessarily, docks them a lot of money. It's not fair, and we've always said, and I've worked on this for many years, why don't we treat teachers, police, and firefighters just like everyone else? Why don't they get equal treatment in fairness in Social Security? And when you apply that principle, good things happen.
Well, I got a pension. I've got a pension now, but that doesn't apply to me. It's only the state employees, municipal employees.
Certain people who pay not into a Social Security plan, but a substitute for Social Security. For example, the teacher retirement system would be a great example. This happens in California, Ohio, Louisiana, across the country. They're paying the equivalent of Social Security just into a substitute. And as a result, this formula, again, inadvertently hammers them, frankly. And so it's not representative, it's not fair, and it's certainly not equal treatment.
Well, it sounds good on paper. How is it actually forming up now in reality in terms of what's going on the Hill?
Yeah, really, we have good news. This is a complex problem, especially when you're dealing with Social Security. So I've worked for more than a decade to find a solution, and I would describe it as I've turned that Rubik's Cube over and over and over again to find that right solution, and we've done that. And we have worked closely with teachers, police, and firefighters across the country, and especially here in Texas. We got tremendous help from the Texas Retired Teachers Association, Association of Texas Professional Educators. Even our Houston Police and Firefighters groups have helped us shape this solution, and it's bipartisan. We have strong support. My co-leader is a Democrat from Massachusetts. We've built broad support, and here's maybe the best thing. It's equal treatment, which is really critical principle, I think. It restores to a teacher, for example, retired today or one in the future, as much as $20,000 or more of their Social Security that they earned in their lifetime. And then maybe more importantly, it makes Social Security stronger. So this doesn't take away from the fund, it actually strengthens it, and that's really been the key.
So what are the chances for this passing, and how long does this process take from where it is now? Even if everything is great, how long would it take to make this happen?
It's difficult to say. We kicked it off with a hearing in the Ways and Means Social Security Subcommittee. Terrific hearing, got exactly the testimony we wanted. That was a critical first step. The next will be to pass it through my Ways and Means Committee, send it to the House floor. Of course, it has to go through the Senate and to the White House, and it is a tough political environment in these election years. It can be very difficult, but we've opened discussions both in the Senate and with the White House about this bill, are getting very favorable responses, and so I'm cautiously optimistic that we can move it through this year.
Long term, that would mean good things for the Houston area, could it not? I mean, City of Houston is battling all kinds of issues, and a lot of it has to do with pension issues. Perhaps if the Social Security issue were resolved, maybe that gives some wiggle room as far as the pensions are concerned.
You know, I hadn't thought about what that connection may be. What I do know for certain is that a teacher who worked her whole life, worked many summer jobs, maybe worked after she retired, who gets docked her Social Security today, will get back a good portion of that Social Security. So it's going to make their monthly lives in those retirement checks just a little better.
Maybe you will be responsible for getting everybody on Capitol Hill singing Kumbaya.
Well, I don't know about that, but you know, if you find the right principles and you work with people who have the same goal, you can do good things. Yeah. I'm just convinced of it.
Local firefighters, police, and teachers will be looking at this one very closely as the city of Houston continues to look for ways to work with those in pension plans while also looking to ease some of the burdens that make the Houston financial landscape a bit more rocky these days. We'll be watching for the progress of this bill and hope you will too. It's called the Equal Treatment of Public Servants Act, H.R. 711. It proposes repealing the current rules and treating all workers the same, public and private, when it comes to retirement benefits. Well, it's time to